Today I'll be showing you how to run Scholomance as a multi-boxer with 10 people. Uh, there are some tricks, especially with pulling. These first couple pulls, you don't really need CC. Just beat them up. If you have severely undergeared people, like no gear, maybe you want to shackle undead on one of these guys. They don't hit too hard. And you're going to stay in this first room for a couple pulls. If you are undergeared, which I will do. I'll show you how I pull these, or I pulled them when I was starting out. Okay. Cool. Alright, so I like to put everyone back here, pull my tank and my melee up. I've only got one extra tank and one melee. So what you're gonna do with these next couple pulls is you're just gonna arrow pull everything. Make sure you come in here with a full set of 200 arrows. You'll use most of them. Alright, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna kill this guy first. Spectral researchers are terrible. CC the acolytes and pull the researcher. You want those researchers to die first because of what they end up doing. They split up into about 6 guys and they'll go straight to your raid group and just wreak havoc. Acolytes just hit hard and they target random people to shoot. One thing that I have that makes it a little bit easier for me is one of the bosses in this instance, the last one, drops a sword called Silent Fang. You should equip that on your tank or a rogue after you get it the first time. It silences targets for 6 seconds and is extremely useful in this dungeon. Now you can just move everyone up slightly. Same thing. This pull you don't necessarily need to CC anything, but I'll CC one thing, because that's what I was doing when I first came in here. Just kind of sit around the corner, make them come around. Let's go with this one. Try and interrupt everything you can. With shift 3. Everything hits pretty decently hard in here. Not monoburn hard like in Elbers, but they hit hard enough. And as you can see, you get pretty fast greens in here. Just kind of creep along the wall. Alright. This is going to be your home right here for the next couple pulls. Just park everyone back there, including your tanks. And then just going to slightly walk out, pull those guys. Get a little bit of threat with your 3 button. and then I usually just do 5 and AoE everything down. Make sure the Risen Guards don't stay on anyone cloth too long. They hit cloth pretty hard. Drink up. You're gonna lose about one person every pull. That's what I was getting when I first started. About one warlock or one mage. And it's normal. You're not gonna just wipe them out like I'm doing. Unless you have reasonable enough gear. Like this room isn't too bad, but the next room after this still kills people in my group. These guys are pretty easy. They don't do anything really. They just web you. I don't recommend even putting an Argent Dawn insignia on because it just slows down looting. You get enough reputation. Like, this is me after maybe 8 runs or 5 runs. 5 runs? I don't know. Anyways, you get rep pretty fast. I'm gonna do something. Just pull both these guys. I recommend just pulling one at a time though. Like, see, I might lose Brutalia. Lost Hellfire instead. One talent I recommend you take on your warlocks is Cataclysm. Pyroclasm. It has a 26% chance of stunning enemies for 3 seconds while you're casting Hellfire or Rain of Fire or other spells. And it does happen a noticeable amount. And I also took Aftermath, which is a daze that happens. The daze is helpful in AoE, since you're not putting Curse of Weakness on people. And that's me accidentally pressing 6 and popping shield wall. That's good. Okay. Pull last group. The reason I pull them around the corner is just so they stack, and it makes it a lot easier to AoE down groups. This is not the last time you will be doing this in this dungeon. If there's a corner, just get behind it. It makes things easier. Alright. Then you just enjoy your insane amount of grays. You will need bags. Lots of bags. On a full run of Sholo, you could fill as many as 3 players' bags completely. And I'm not going to, like, see there, this guy's bags are already full. So And we have to actually stop deleting and selling greens, not deleting, selling them, because we're still gearing up. Alright, this boss will be unavailable for you at first unless you do the quest outside the dungeon. This is the Herald. Okay, so there's a trick. I still haven't actually completed the last part of the Herald, which is killing him. And to do these quests, since they're dungeon quests, not raid quests, how you have to do them is you have to be the first one to to tap the boss and get a hit in, and then you have to leave the raid right before he dies. Then you'll get credit for him getting slain, and then you have to be reinvited into the raid by the new raid leader. So I like to keep one person's tab open. Alright. That way I can see who the new raid leader is immediately. Usually if you promote someone to assistant, they'll be the new raid leader. I probably won't get this. What you'll find is the bosses in here are much easier than the ads. And that's true for a lot of the vanilla dungeons. It's just... Alright, so it didn't work that time because I didn't get the first hit in because the Warlock pets did. So, that kind of sucks. Just a unit. Yeah. Alright, so what dropped? Probably Boots of Valor. Nope. Gravestone War Axe. That's just garbage. Just absolute trash. Yeah, so that'd be a better idea, just going in with dismissed pets. Who's gonna get this belt? I think I will give it to... Yeah, that mage. He drops a good caster belt. Alright. Now this is a serious room. It's not easy in the least. And this is what's going to slow you down. This is what turns a 2-hour Sholo run into a 4+ hour Sholo run. This room and its adjoining rooms. And once you're done with this room and the adjoining rooms, it's 90% bosses from here on out. But when you don't have the first boss over there, it just feels like a nightmare. You just gotta pull everything around this corner. You don't want to be caught sitting out in the open hall. Let me promote this guy back to leader. There we go. See, we got another tutor. That means tutor dies first. These adepts, those guys need to get sheeped for you. You notice that? See, this is what I'm talking about with the spectral tutors. And they do a group silence, which is unpleasant to say the least. Alright, there we go. And look at how far just that one pull with 3 people got my group down. Alright. Alright. Let's get those curses off. And just and I think Tracy bought them for school. Alright, so for this pull, I'll do the actual sheeping. I do not like adepts. Necromancers aren't terrible, but that was bad raid running. For some reason, they're not wanting to sheep that stupid. And this is what happens. They sheep wrong stuff, or they don't sheep it at all. Tutor gets all up in your group and silences everyone, and then it just goes all wrong and you lose 2 people. Right, what I was trying to do is back my group up. That way they can sheep more effectively. Alright. Yeah. Adept, Necromancer, Adept. Alright, so I'm gonna play this one extra safe. Sit as close to the corner as you can, and then they'll pull around. And sometimes for unknown reasons, mages refuse to sheep. Necromancer, Adept, Adept, Tutor. Come on, sheep, sheep. There we go. It's going a bit better. Then we take out the next Adept. don't forget to interrupt these guys. They just shoot random frost bolts, so they have no targeting. So they'll just shoot straight at the person with the lowest health because that's how it works. Alright. Now it's time to come around the corner. So one benefit of coming around the corner is now you'll be able to shoot more effectively since they can see more effectively and see sooner. Okay. That was smooth. Okay, and last one. Alright, there we go. This one I kind of like to set up right here, because this is a 2 Necromancer, 1 Adept pool. Bam. When there's 2 Adepts, it's usually you need to CC, otherwise someone is going to die. But Necromancers do put Curse of Grave if you don't remove it, or if you don't have someone to remove it, it'll wear you down. This is not my favorite pool. We might get him before he splits. Yes. I don't know if you can see it, but whenever you see a person making the face is when the sword procs. The Adept always shoots the lowest guy without fail. Okay. Lost one on an accidental extra pull. I usually don't rebuff the Warlocks once they die because they keep dying. See, this is a dangerous guy because he strolls around and he can pull extra, and you want to take him out. And if you've got a powerful group that you clear with, I'll show you a little trick. For this pull, I like to shoot both the casters and just pull the undead people. Let's get this guy done. Those tutors are just super annoying if you get more than you bargained for, because they'll silence your healers without fail and make you lose people real fast. I'll cure that curse. Alright, so I'm going to go for the adept first. And then we'll go for those guys, because for the whelps, we're going to pull them around the corner here. So one trick I've been using to get people geared in Sholo is I'll clear with this group, right? And I'll keep usually my best healer and my best tank. And then I'll bring in, 8 scrubs. And I have all the trash already cleared, which is the hard part. And then I'll go in and kill all the bosses with my trash group. And they'll get all the good loot. Makes things go much smoother. I tried clearing with a bad group again, and it just drove me insane. It's much more pleasant to clear with a good group. I don't know if you guys already do that with your multi-boxes, but it's only something I just started. Just interrupt those frost bolts, and bam. Okay, so now it's for the problem room. This room down here will wipe you over and over and over again if you do not get the pulls right, because there's very little gaps in between these groups, and you can accidentally pull multiple groups every single pull. And the disease ghouls, when you kill them, lay down a huge poison cloud that does 315 damage per second. So you just gotta park your guys back here. And then I'll move Furyswipes to the middle, right here, just in front of the group. Pull this guy up. Okay. So, naturally, you're going to pull these guys first, right? You're going to target one of these guys, designate them for shackle, then you're going to tank the other guy. Now the skeletons are unique because they don't take any caster damage. So if you don't have melee damage in your group, or at least a decent amount of okay, that's me standing in the poison, or at least a decent amount of melee, it's going to be hell. And it's going to take forever, because there's a whole room in the basement full of these guys. That was a decent pull. Oh, another traveler's backpack. Oh, and that guy's inventory is full. This is what you're going to deal with. Bag slots are the bane of my existence. There we go. Okay, this is the tricky part. Pulling these side guys is never that easy. Let's try and get these necrofiends. Did I get both of them cleanly? Yes. No, I did not. And here comes more disease ghouls. And here I am stuck in... Oh god, this is bad. This is what I'm talking about. They fucking web you and now you're stuck. And Tank can't even get back to the group to go help because he's being an idiot webbed. Come here. Get off my group. And this is going to be a wipe. This is what I'm talking about. This room is terrible. Because I not only got one disease ghoul, I got 3 of them, and I got the regular 2 web guys. Okay, that's it. That's a wipe. And that's why this room sucks. It's very hard to control the pulls. But now it's going to be a lot easier because you don't have the necro, the spider bosses walking around. Those guys are really one of the most annoying parts. And if you get both of them and take out a bunch of disease ghouls, I'd call that a win. So I will go ahead and buff up after this because most of the rest of the pools are not as bad as that pool was. I hope. You guys did not get to see the trick of how to get into Sholo when you don't have a key. You take a Warlock up to the top of the Sholo, and then you life tap till you have about 400 health left, and you jump down, but you aim for the coping on the side of the building. Because if you fall on the coping and die, you get to spawn, you get to res at Sholo. And what you do is you run through the door and take res inside the door, and then you can open it and let your people in. Making good time. Only about 30 minutes in, I think. Your run will not go this fast. Almost guarantee it. It's a pain. There are usually mess ups like this, and it just wears you out. But it is still about 10 times better than Undead Strat on the server, and reasonably easier than Living Strat. Although Living Strat is pretty easy. It's just, it just feels not as worth it because there's not as many bosses. There's about 12 bosses in here for an hour and a half, hour 40 minutes of trash if you go slow. One thing I did not have going into that fight was imps. Extra 42 stamina is always welcome. This basement room is just, it's kind of bad, but it gets easier the more times you do it. You start to get a feel for what to pull and what you can ignore. Okay, so let's grab these guys. Okay, because I know they're up, and they did it anyways. Yeah, this is what drives you insane. These risen aberrations. Luckily, I still got Stormhammer up, I believe. Okay. There you go. That's how you handle getting bonus risen aberrations. You just let half your group die. And there's still more. It's just out of control in this room. This guy's a pull, this guy's a pull. You got 3 more pulls in this room. This room almost made me quit the first time, once I saw it. And I was going through here so slow that once I got to the final bosses and killed them, this whole room had repopped. And that happened twice. I'd recommend going in with more melee if I was you, or just better melee. Like hunters would be good because you get 2 melee for every 1 person since they got pets. I usually go for the middle pack first. And it gets pretty easy once you get the pulls down and you stop getting double pulls. That it's the first 2 or 3 pulls that make it real annoying to be in here. Like that wasn't even close to losing anyone. And that was an effective Shackle Undead by my priest. You d- every once in a while you'll get, well, more than every once in a while, you'll get a ghoul running back to your group pretty much every other pull. And you just got to make sure not to let your group kill them because sometimes you don't notice it and your whole group will be dead in the back and you'll be wondering what happened. And bam, last pull. I like to clear this room before I go into Jandis's room because once you go into Jandis's room, there is a torch on the wall, and when you flick it, that door opens. I don't know if it only opens for a limited amount of time, so I'm not ready. I'm not really willing to test it. So I just like to hit it. That way I get double prizes after I kill her. One thing we should write into the code is to make casters auto-attack Risen Aberrations. That way you just get everyone swinging. Okay, now time to loot. What kind of sucks is these guys don't drop much of anything. So if you don't loot them, it's not the end of the world. Alright. Now that that area is clear, it's time to go down to Jandis. She's optional as far as I know, so if you hate this room, you can skip her, but I wouldn't recommend it. She drops some good stuff. And she's a lot easier to clear, too, than that viewing room. Get this guy before he starts walking. I always just target the disease ghoul. Unless there's two of them, then you're gonna wanna, you know, get him targeted for shackle. This I usually just let them auto attack so the casters aren't wasting their mana on these guys. But I'll have the casters take out that guy, and then bam. Okay. I like to pull into that room just because it's easier to control everything. You can do whatever you want though. These pulls are pretty easy, just because there's not as many ghouls. If you just target them and kill them first, it's not even a problem. Just kill them away from your group and you're good. And I just ignore those guys. And you run along this edge. Oh, I got two ghouls. I'm just gonna take care of all those reanimated corpses. And even if you get a little bit extra in this room, it's still easier than that viewing room. Because max ghouls you get is 2. Unless you really mess up, then you might get, 3. Who doesn't have? Okay. And this is where your casters kind of very, very slow down their DPS. you'll net around 200 gold total from just trash items. Okay, so I like to do these guys because he usually pulls for some reason. Up, and here's a bad pull. Let's take some of these out. And even on that pull, we did not wipe. We did lose both our warlocks. So you just gotta keep calm and handle it. Alright. Bam. Okay. Everyone's back up. We got pretty good clear going. And last pull in this room. And then there's only 2 more ads after this. 2 more ad pulls. 3 more ad pulls after this. And then you're pretty much done with ads in this instance. And it's just the rooms with the mini bosses in them. Those have some ad pulls in them, but they're not. There's nothing like this. This is a torch that you use, by the way, to get the chest open and get some greens. Okay. Let's get some buffs up. Jandis isn't hard. And oh, you got big muscles. Yeah, camera's still running. So you're just gonna back everyone up, and I'm just gonna pull her over to the group, because her splitting up isn't a big deal. You just AoE and get it done. So this is where you'd want to be the first one to hit her for that for one part of that quest, where you have to, but you'd have to hit her first, then leave right before the boss is dead, and then you'd have to rejoin the group, open up a loot window to loot her, and then leave group again and loot outside a group, because you can't loot a quest item in a raid group. But you can hold the loot window open and then leave group, and then you'll get it. Just crap. That's terrible. Yeah. That is vendor trash if I've ever seen it. Super disappointing. She has a chance of dropping Dreadmist shoulders and a couple other things. Oh, before I forget, hit this torch. Let's go grab our chest. Okay. Send this guy to go get it. Oh, well that sucks. Usually drops anywhere from 4 to 8 of them. Stream has been bad luck to me. Okay, so where you're going to want to park your guys is over here. These whelps do a stamina debuff on your group, and you want to kill the handler first, because he doesn't knock back. And that's why I cleared that whole room back there and that little alcove, because if he knocks you back, you have a chance of getting knocked all the way back into that room and pulling the entire room. And that's just a wipe. There's nothing you can do to save that. And you're usually pretty safe just hammering the plagued hatchlings with AoE. And I don't like clearing all these guys because they're just a little annoying. And just burn them down and get. I usually like to position myself again while everyone's drinking. That way I can just pull when I see most people are close to full on mana. And that's all the whelps that you need to kill. You can board edge crawl through the rest of that zone. I've yet to see a world drop in here, which is kind of disappointing. time to go down to Rattlegore. Rattlegore is a very easy fight. The ads are really easy and convenient. They come one at a time. They don't usually kill anyone. I like to park everyone up there. Just micro that guy. And you don't have to clear all these guys. That mechanic isn't in. So. And bam, that's Rattlegore. Super easy fight. Just have off tank to tank this Risen Construct. Don't even need CC in this room. And more trash. Honestly, what's going on? I better get the staff out for all this trash loot. Alright, now we're into the final two boss rooms. There's the event boss, but honestly, I don't know if he's worth the effort unless you're taking some warlocks in or gearing a Shadow Priest. Because the sword he drops is just the sword the counter boss drops is just okay, and it takes quite a bit of effort and usually causes at least a couple deaths. And I'd much rather do these guys. Alright, so this first room is where you can wipe. Or at least kill a bunch of guys. So you're gonna park your tank up here. Park your other tank up here. Kinda this way. That way you can catch stragglers. And you're just gonna body pull. You can get many, many guys if you in this first pull, like I'm getting right now. Tons and tons of guys. And they're all just going straight for the DPS. The unstable ones are the ones you don't want to die in your group. kill anyone. There we go. As long as you don't get more than 3 unstable corpses going back there, you're usually safe. But if you get more than 3, don't AoE. Alright. That's the hard pull. Okay. Get my mana back. You notice how much of the room is gone now. This section is going to be 1 pull, then this section, and then there'll be 2 guys left over. If you have hunter pets, make sure not to send them in till after they come out of the room, because they will just get annihilated instantly.
Way too much fun being had over there. Why are you having so much fun? He thinks I'm kidding.
Okay. There we go. That was a smooth pull. Not too many. This is going to be a bigger pull. Gonna have to tab target through these guys to get them all sorted. This is a big pull for unstable corpses, so if any get back to your group, don't let them blow up like that. Alright, there we go. Haven't lost anyone on this room. That's a good sign. If you've only lost 1 person on that room, that's still really good. Alright, let's grab this guy. The reason I pull him out here is it gives us a bit more room and it spreads them out a little bit. It gives us time to prep. Alright, we can bring everyone up. So we just pull this guy and the rest come. Alright, there we go. And this boss is just, it's not even a boss. I'd rate it as a add with more health. That doesn't do as much damage. He has no special abilities. Is just tank and spank. Alright. We got Dreadnought straps and some vendor gear. And it's only vendor gear because I took my geared group. Yeah, just vendor. This next room is going to be ghouls. And this one you're just going to want a one tank because of the explosions. It's easier to move just one guy. I try and go for a 3-pull to start it out. That way it's easy to get through. But I only got 2. Okay. Killing them away from the doorway allows you to pull the next guys immediately. And these guys just want to... There he goes, back to the group. Without fail. Okay, move the group up. The key is to just not panic when they die by your group. I'll kill him over here, that way he's not dropping a poison cloud near where I'm going to take the boss, which is just the middle of the room. This guy, again, no real tricks. He has a stun, and he just hits fast and decently hard. Like, I don't even need to mount up for this guy. You drop threat when he stuns you, so I'd recommend having at least someone who pulls a lot of threat to back you up. Vendor trash. Yeah. The best part about this is you get a ton of Magister's dungeon tier gloves for your raid. It's Magister's, Dreadmist, and Wildheart that drop off these mini bosses. Okay, this room, you need magic damage. If you do not have magic damage, you will not be able to do this room. You want to kill... You want to CC the adepts and kill the occultists first. Necromancer, Cultist, Cultist. Okay, this one's gonna be slightly easier. Those adepts just are no fun. You're Batman. Alright. And Necromancer time. Alright. Drink it up. I think there's just this group. Yeah. Now you can bring your group in. And we're almost done with... Actually, we're done with the hard pulls. The bottom rooms are pretty easy compared to these rooms. I mean, you don't have to CC, but I'm going to CC because that's what you should do if you're going in here ungeared. And done. Oh, that was cool. Alright. Done with the hard pulls in this instance. Congratulations. You now are just going to pretty much loot bosses. The bottom pulls are very simple, very easy. Nothing to them. But there is a kill order for bosses that I usually do. One boss may wipe you. Just waiting for those imps. But this instance has a ton of good drops for feral tanks, normal tanks, rogues, and casters. Not so much shaman. Hunters, it has a chance of dropping a good bow, but I wouldn't like base my whole raid around hunters for this instance. Ah, blood mail. Now we're gonna give that burial shot to Fireball. Bam. That is a very, very nice pair of shoulders. 16 intellect, 20 damage and healing. Very nice. It will last you into Molten Core easily. Okay, so kill order for these rooms is Lord Alexi, then Lady, and then you're gonna end your night in the Ravian's room. There's a trick to Lord Alexi, or at least a CC order for him that you're gonna want to do, otherwise you may give yourself a much harder time than needed.
That's why we don't join the house. You get slapped. But you're out of range. Don't run into the house.
Okay. like to do here is I back my group up into this corner. Not all the way, but just in line with that tomb. I'll pull my tank and my one melee up, and then you're going to shackle undead. Shackle undead on those guys. And pull. And here you go. He has a what seems to be a damaging aura. Yeah. And that's what might kill your group if they're severely undergeared. 175 damage every 3 seconds, I think. Ah, got my cadaverous gloves for my rogue. That's awesome.
Nice. Good job, Eli. What set is that? Is that the end of the set?
That's the end of the set for the rogue. That's 2% hit.
Oh, baby.
Cadaverous is awesome for rogues and feral tanks. 2% hit as a set bonus, and at least 100 attack power on the set.
That's tremendous.
72 attack power on the chest alone. Bam.
Blue gloves, too.
Bam. That's awesome.
I think it might be time to start throwing enchants around.
Lightforge is actually better than Valor if you're just throwing gear on people. On warriors, it's actually got more stats than Valor if you're just tossing gear around. Alright. Now we go to ladies' room. These ads are super easy. And if you want to gear up before you start doing the upper rooms, you could actually come down here and do some of the do lady first, maybe get some gear, then do the upper 3. Because you don't want to end on an upper room. The Ravian is by far the easiest boss. And easiest rune to clear. Actually, I might say that lady is. Because it's already cleared.
No, because I can get on your socks and shoes here in a minute.
I'm not even going to wait for mono.
Leo, stop.
There's no line of sight issues behind these little tombs. So you can put her wherever you want. Decurse that curse. It hits very, very hard, I think. Crap gear. She drops nice healing leather, but we don't have any leather healers in this current group.
We're going in 15 minutes.
These guys have no tricks to them. They just hit slightly hard. And looks like we got all of them in one pool. Cool. Okay, so what are you gonna do here? You're gonna pull your raid, put them in the corner. The reason you do that is Dark Master spawns after you kill the last boss, and if you're not sitting in this corner, notice usually he pulls, but he doesn't pull immediately if you sit them right here. And if you kill the boss and Dark Master spawns and you wipe, you lose the loot for that boss. So it's kind of a big deal if you're very ungeared and you're needing that loot. Get him slightly out of the corner. Okay. And this group is almost entirely done with this instance. There's almost nothing left for them. Just the Dungeon 1 sets heads. Because I believe the one mage is still missing his, and both the... Oh, look at that. More cadaverous. I guess he gets it because it's actually good for enhancement if we ever force him to go enhancement. So you can pull him into one of these rooms and maybe you'll get lucky and your guy will get ported into the room you're already in. Not super likely though. Pull him around the corner and receive loot. Sometimes he will teleport your main tank. Sometimes he'll teleport your off tank. Okay, there we go. That's all done. And that is how you run Sholo, and we got one more boss left.
You got one more boss?
One more boss. Ooh. I might actually run Shadowcraft instead,
It's pretty nice.
and that'll
It's got
put
strength
him
too.
at... Still don't know if I agree with this over... Actually, you only lose 1% hit. Okay. Devout Crown.
It's better.
Witchblade, awesome. I mean, this guy gets the Witchblade because he's already got the book that goes with it.
Oh, nice.
Bam.
But he wasn't holding them.
Yeah, because he had a two-hander on.
I see, I see.
And the two-hander had
Silent Fang can go to the road, really.
it's a main hand.
Doesn't matter.
He already has one.
Oh, he already has one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give him Devout.
Very nice.
Ah, and that got him 23 plus damage and healing as well.
That's a set bonus.
Alright. We'll give him Shadowcraft Helm.
Yeah, that's the option. And that's just gonna Bender.
Yep.
Get rid of that. We gotta get a disenchanter so that we can turn some of this stuff into enchants. Alright, so
Now
Raz,
there's...
Frost Whisper.
Yep, now it's just Raz Frost Whisper because I'm not going to do the event bosses. I'll show you how to do them, but they're a pain and they don't drop great stuff. You're going to Hellfire all these ads. They die pretty fast. And then you'll pull these guys around into this room. You'll tank the caster boss, Vectis, against the wall right there, and you'll tank the Marduk Blackpool away from your raid with your secondary tank at some other point, but not close to Vectis. Okay.
Check your cameras out.
Still working. Okay, these guys aren't spectral tutors, they're teachers, so that means they don't split up. So you can go ahead and just take care of them. And as you notice, Silent Fang just procs constantly when you have it on a rogue and and your main tank. It just makes it so much more bearable. We got an adept. We're gonna definitely kill that guy first, because they're just the worst. Okay, and now we take care of these last guys in here. Is that an adept? No. Alright. Now time for Raz. Raz is not hard. He doesn't knock back, so sometimes you have to run your guys back, but you just point them away from your raid. He does drop a very, very nice chess piece for anyone in your raid that is a caster. Healers especially. Just great stats. He also has a chance of dropping just absolute trash. So that's his knockback. And that's it. Oh, Magister's Mantle. Too bad. I'll take it just to keep it for a set. Frostbite Girdle's garbage, and those are great, great tanking gloves if I didn't already have them. Alright, and that is how you clear Sholo in 1 hour and 38 minutes.